Hey, just me, and apologies to you video viewers. I don't know when this is going to get into the feed. Also, video viewers, you will not have video versions of DTNS for Thursday and Friday because of the Thanksgiving holidays. There will be audio-only headlines, though, so you can get those at dailytechnewsshow.com. Also, apologies, video viewers, that I excerpted some audio from the morning stream which will not be in the video today, but that will be in the audio version. But you will get the full headlines effect going on here today. So without further ado, what is a do anyway? Without Mountain Dew, how do I do this again when I'm alone? Here we go. Oh, you know what? Helps if I turn that up. Here we go again. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Thank you, Patrick.
This is a public DTNS announcement. A message in English will follow. Välkommen till showen med dagliga teknologiska nyheter med Tom Merritt och gäster. Jag heter Carl och är en av flera exekutiva medproducenter och alltså en av Toms chefer. Det kan du också bli genom att donera $1 eller mer i månaden på patreon.com.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, November 25th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Nobody joining me today. It's just me for Wednesday. We do have an excerpt from the morning stream conversation that I had with Scott Johnson and Brian Ibbott about today's news that'll be thrown in here as well. But mostly it's just the headlines, and that's the way it's going to be for the next couple of days. There'll be no live show Thursday or Friday, but I will do audio headlines for you guys, and then back to the regular show on Monday. So let us start off with those headlines, except for today. TechCrunch reports Apple has confirmed it acquired motion capture tech maker FaceShift earlier this year. The Zurich, Switzerland-based company creates animated avatars that capture a person's facial expressions in real time. You may have seen these used in a few games. It's great for VR, great for AR, augmented reality as well. And it's used in the forthcoming movie Star Wars The Force Awakens. Apple has acquired companies who do motion capture before. They've done some facial recognition and augmented reality as well, including PrimeSense, Polar Rose, and Mateo. So unlike I know a guy who says something, these are some tangible pieces of factual information that show that Apple is definitely toying around with some kind of augmented reality, virtual reality, facial recognition idea, but who knows for what. Google has updated its AMP project. That's AMP for Accelerated Mobile Pages. The open source project was announced back in October. We talked about it on the show. It provides technical specs that help you optimize your pages for instantaneous loading on mobile. The first use will be a Google search result. You click on a Google search result and then it instant loads the page if it's coded correctly, but it's open source, so people can use it for a lot of different things. In their new announcement, mostly Google makes a big deal of all their partners. They have 70 plus media companies representing 1,600 local newspapers and TV stations, loads of analytics companies, developers, ad partners. Google's search engine will begin sending traffic to AMP pages early next year, so it's not a hard date, but we know they're actually going to start using it, at least they intend to, in the beginning of 2016. And you can try out a live demo if you want to give it a shot, see what it looks like. Go to g.co/AMP demo. Shortly after yesterday's show, as many of you noticed, Microsoft restored the November Windows Update version 15.11 to be available in the Windows Media Creation tool. That happens sometimes where we go all in on a story like Patrick and I did, and by the time the show's over, it's out of date. But why did it get pulled in the first place, you might ask? Well, last week, Microsoft says they found that the update was causing some computers to switch 4 privacy-related settings to default values. So if you had said, no, I don't want to share these things, and you did this update, it would switch them back to sharing, which is the default. First of all, the default value being sharing is always a bad idea, in my opinion. But what Microsoft did, very sensitive about accusations that they are digging into your privacy, said, let's pull that update, let's fix that so it doesn't do that anymore, and then put the update back out. So at least it's the right thing in the short term. The Tor project for maintaining the privacy-protecting software announced its first donation drive. A lot of people are calling this crowdfunding, which I guess it is. It's not like they're doing anything on Kickstarter or anything. If you didn't know, although the Tor project has an adversarial relationship with the government, it's 80 to 90% funded by U.S. government grants and funding. So they would probably like to diversify a little. They're using documentary filmmaker and Edward Snowden supporter Laura Poitras as an example of the kind of person who used Tor in a blog post that then encourages people to donate at torproject.org/donate. Sony announced that as of Sunday, November 22nd, the PlayStation 4 has sold through 30.2 million units worldwide since its 2013 release. That likely makes it the leading selling console. Nintendo has sold 10.73 million Wii U's as of September 30th. It's unlikely they sold 20 more million between September and now. Microsoft, however, has not released official numbers for worldwide sales since a year ago. They were 10 million last November, but that really doesn't help us figure out where they are now. Unlikely that they've gone 20 million in a year, but it'd be interesting to get some official numbers from Microsoft so we can make a direct comparison. Abituela Condolci pointed out the discovery of another vulnerable security certificate on Dell computers called DSD Test Provider. Journalist Hanno Bach reported it to researchers at Carnegie Mellon who published the alert about it, and Dell has moved rather quickly to release a fix for that problem and remove that certificate for affected users. This is not one that was shipped with Dell computers. It came if you downloaded the Dell System Detect software between October 20th and November 24th, which is yesterday as I'm recording this. So they just fixed it and replaced the software so it does not use that certificate anymore. And while Dell has done the right thing in reaction each time, it really is making a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, how did these things get there in the first place? Why did you use them? How many more are there that are yet to be discovered? Which Dell, I'm sure, would like to say there are no more, but we are pattern recognition creatures, right? As soon as we see two things in a row, we start to think maybe there's a third more likely. Not necessarily, but I think at this point, Dell would do itself a favor if it did a little more transparency and explanation of at least why this happened. Polar FZ wanted us to mention the Hexapod story about Li-Fi wireless data transmission. That's with an L, Li-Fi, based on visible light transmission, hence the L, being used to reach speeds of around 1 gigabyte download per second. That's not a transmission rate. That's the ability to do like a gigabyte movie in a second. In real-world tests. Now, in the lab, they've been able to get 224 gigabits per second, but this real-world test was conducted in Tallinn by Estonia's Velmeni, which hopes to make Li-Fi devices available to consumers within 3 to 4 years. So good to see it used under real-world conditions. Good to see a company willing to push this out here, and who knows, maybe in 3 years we'll all be talking about whether that new Android device has Li-Fi in it, and does that make it worth buying? So you can check out more about that at Hexapolis. The Lazy One wanted us to mention Business Insider's report on a GitHub repository of scripts used by an unknown programmer to automate his work life. After the person left their job, Nihat Abbasov, aka Narcos, discovered the scripts and shared them for all to try. Among the dozen or so scripts are one for texting his wife with excuses for being late, emailing in sick if he wasn't logged in by 8:45 a.m., and hacking into the coffee maker, which had Linux on it, and executing a precisely timed latte to be finished just in the time it took him to walk from his desk to the machine. That was 41 seconds. So there you go, folks. That's what I'm going to be talking about with Scott Johnson and Brian Ibbett on the morning stream, which you may or may not be about to hear or have heard earlier today. And that, my friend, is also partly made up of your submissions. Get in there at the subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, and let us know what you'd like us to hear about. That's a look at the headlines. Our pick of the day comes from, oh man, did I really not put the person's name in here this time? I'm so bad when I'm just in a rush. And I think I need to get this. Steve. Thank you, Steve, for this pick. And frankly, it's one I was a little skeptical about. He said, after Google Reader went under, I tried Feedly but did not like the upsell. I bought a lifetime membership to Feedly, so I don't notice that. And maybe there are things that I would run into if I didn't have the paid version that would bother me. I love Feedly. However, Steve says Dig Reader digg.com. Yes, that Dig. Dig Reader at dig.com/reader is almost exactly like the old Google Reader, free and no ads. And I went and checked it out. I think it's actually better than the old Google Reader. It's very similar to Feedly in its layout, which actually was, very similar to the Google Reader layout as well. And no ads. You don't have to pay to get extra features, and it does seem to be pretty snappy. I uploaded my OPML file to it, and it took it really quick, laid it out very nicely. So you might want to check that out, dig.com/reader. Thank you, Steve, for that pick. Send your picks to us, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com, and you can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. All right, a few messages of the day before I get out of here. First, did I do it again? Show I love is all I have in this one. Well, you know what? I'll do a quick email search for show I love. Maybe that will get me... it's Marlon. How could I forget Marlon? He usually puts his name at the top of his email. Thank you, Marlon. I said, I just wanted to let you know that on friend of the show, Jason Howell's All About Android, and you have to say my wife used to host that show, they had a developer on who is part of the Android app streaming announced last week. If you have the time, the first story they cover, you get to see it in action. So if you're curious about that ability to stream an app without downloading it and try it out, you can see it in action at All About Android. Thank you, Marlon. And then Ian from sunny San Diego, whose name I did copy over, said, I enjoyed hearing Patrick's rationality last week with regards to how best to disarm terrorists. The only power they have over us is forcing us to react with fear. Specifically, I liked the clarity Patrick gave us when he said that we should never build policy from a place of fear. I'd like to propose that we codify this principle as Patrick's corollary. Don't drive when angry. Don't shop for groceries when hungry, and don't make policy when you're afraid. All three lead to irrational decision-making and regret. I'm most inspired by rational voices like those I hear on DTNS. Well, thank you. And I take great comfort in troubling times like these to know that there are thoughtful people creating public discourse as an alternative to the knee-jerk nationalism and xenophobia some major media outlets thrive on. It makes it easy to continue pledging financial support. Well, those are just all self-congratulatory things. Thank you, Ian, very much. And I like the idea of making a Patrick corollary that we can use about combating our own fear. And that is it for this show. Thanks again to Scott Johnson and Brian Ibbett for letting me co-opt the morning stream as my discussion section this morning. And big thanks to you guys. It is a day to be thankful for here in the United States tomorrow. And I couldn't be doing this show that I love nearly as well. I would be doing it alone to myself, no one else probably, without your support. You make this show into what it is. If you aren't supporting the show and you would like to, if you're willing to support the show, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Our next milestone goal is to get a 6th day as we get closer and closer to making daily a literal word with Peter Wells, hosted out of Australia, to give a different perspective on the tech news once a week. And we have an idea for another day if we get to that milestone. So head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. You can also get to our store there where we have a Born Ready t-shirt. I forgot about that. There's a Patrick Beja Born Ready t-shirt still in the store that you can buy. Anyway, that's the way to support the show if you're willing. Thank you so much to everybody who does. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Headlines tomorrow and Friday. Back with Veronica Belmont on Monday. Talk to you then.
This podcast is part of the Frog Pants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Boom! And that's how you do it on Wednesday in the morning by yourself. I think that covers it for today. So I'll just leave it streaming while I do the quick edit. I do have to do an interesting little bit for the audio version with the morning stream stuff in there. I think that's going to work though. I left a pause. Just needed it levelates faster when it's only 12 minutes long too. Yeah, and just in case you're wondering, live viewers especially, there will not be video live. There won't be live recording. I'll just be recording it in a corner of my father-in-law's house. So I'll just get it out when I can. It will be very brief tomorrow, and probably with some emails and stuff on Friday. Now, where is that pause? Is that it? Does that look like it? Oh, no, that's not. I didn't pause as long as I thought, I guess. That's weird. I don't know if you Alpha Geek Radio people could hear that. All right, well, I'm going to stop streaming now and fix that. But thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll see you with a full show again on Monday.